Arlen, Texas, home to a propane salesman with exactly one personality. A conspiracy theorist who can spot a government cover-up 3 counties away but doesn't notice what's happening inside his own house. A man who's been quietly, confidently dismantling a marriage for over a decade. We're ranking the characters of King of the Hill by aura. No aliens, no tumors that turn into suns, just Texas, propane, and several decades of repressed feelings. By the end, you'll understand why the calmest man in this whole town is also the most dangerous. Let's start at the very bottom, where propane stops being sold and starts being inhaled. F tier, a man the universe forgot to give a subplot. Bill Dauterive. Bill is an army barber, divorced, so lonely he once put up Christmas decorations in July just to have something to do. He cries, a lot, openly, in front of people, over things as small as a sandwich that didn't work out. In love with Peggy Hill, his best friend's wife, for reasons neither the show nor Bill himself could ever explain. Bill has a pattern with women. The moment there's even a slightest chance at love, he wants to marry, no matter how abusive or manipulative she is. His ex-wife, Lenore, left him and then used him as her emotional backup plan whenever it suited her. Bill let it happen, over and over, like a man who's forgotten he's allowed to say no. He once joined a fitness program that turned out to be run by an actual cult. He lost the weight and lost even more of himself in the process. F tier, the only man in Arlen whose aura you can hear from the sound of his sigh alone. Before I turn into a toxic Bill with this whole YouTube thing, subscribe to the channel. Let's keep this one healthy. Bill stays in every relationship out of desperation. The next one just stays on top of everything, whether anyone asked or not. D tier, sweet, confused, structurally incapable of success, Luanne Platter. Hank's niece lives with the Hills after her father went to prison and her mother provided equally unreliable. She's training to be a beautician. She takes the entrance exam 4 times. Luanne is, by every measure, a good person. Kind, genuinely wants to help everyone around her, usually at that exact moment they need it last. When she gets upset, the sweetness disappears fast. She's thrown Peggy's shoe down a garbage chute and once dyed Peggy's hair green on purpose. Pure spite, with the same energy she puts into everything else. She built an entire puppet ministry around a sock puppet named Christy, deeply religious, a self-declared born-again virgin, a vow she didn't keep. She lectures others about a faith she doesn't follow herself. D tier, pure heart, zero follow-through, a woman who means so well so consistently that even Jesus eventually stops keeping score. Luanne means well and fails anyway. The next one fails too, but she's absolutely certain she's winning. C tier, confidence without the convenience of competence. Peggy Hill. Peggy is a substitute teacher who is, by her own unshakable assessment, fluent in Spanish, a gifted writer, and broadly excellent at almost anything she attempts. None of it is true. She speaks Spanish with the confidence of a native and the accuracy of someone who learned it from a cereal box. Her advice column gave such catastrophic advice that real harm followed. The fascinating part, none of it touches her. She fails publicly in nearly every domain and walks out every failure with the exact same confidence she walked in with. A woman who simply never connected effort to outcome and is completely at peace with that. C tier, wrong out about almost everything, certain about all of it. The gap between those two facts is the entire character. Kahn Souphanousinphone. The Hill's neighbor, an engineer deeply consistently obsessed with status, specifically how much higher he's supposed to be than everyone else. He looks at Hank and sees someone fundamentally beneath him. Worth noting, Kahn lives next door. Comparable house, comparable income, same town. The class gap he insists on exists almost entirely in his own head. He's genuinely intelligent in his field and spends an enormous amount of that intelligence on a hierarchy nobody else is competing in. C tier, he's running a competition with exactly one contestant. B tier, real substance, severe functional limits. Bobby Hill. Hank's son. He wants to be a comedian, a competitive meat judger, a propane salesman for about a week, and roughly 9 other things depending on the episode. What sets Bobby apart from every other kid his age, he doesn't fold to his father's expectations. Hank wants a son who hunts, plays football, and embodies a rigid idea of a Texan masculinity. Bobby isn't interested in none of it. And rather than fake something to keep the peace, he just isn't. Consistently, right to Hank's face. That takes a quiet resolve most adults in this series never develop. B tier, the most secure identity in a town full of grown men still trying to figure out who they're supposed to be. Bobby knows exactly who he is. So does his father. He just has one single setting for it. Hank Hill. I sell propane and propane accessories. That sentence is the closest thing to a summary of Hank Hill's personality, and he'd probably take it as a compliment. Hank has exactly one operating system: traditional, stoic, principled Texan manhood. Firm handshakes, a properly grilled steak, a son who understands all of it without help. When it turns out Bobby wants none of it, Hank genuinely can't compute the information. But here's the real aura. Hank's consistency isn't a bit. He means every word of his rigid code, applies it to himself just as hard, and never uses it as a weapon out of cruelty, only confusion. When he finally shows up for Bobby in his stiff, wordless way, it lands harder than any speech, precisely because Hank doesn't do speeches. B tier, ironclad principles almost entirely incompatible with the actual people he loves. Hank's about to walk off without a word, as usual. Before he does, subscribe, comment, show some of that backbone. Hank needs full sentences to earn respect. The next man needs none you can actually understand. A tier, a presence that needs no explanation, Boomhauer. Nobody in this town fully understands what Boomhauer says. Nobody. They nod anyway. It works every time. And possibly, out of the entire friend group, he's the one women actually want. That's the whole case for Boomhauer's aura in one sentence. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't need to. Whatever he's projecting operates on a frequency that bypasses language entirely. And it works better than anything Hank, Dale, or Bill ever managed with full grammatically correct sentences. A tier, communicates a pure sound, still the most successful man in the cul-de-sac. Boomhauer dominates without understandable words. The next man dominates without shins. Cotton Hill. Hank's father, a war veteran who lost both shins in combat and walks on the stumps by choice. He refuses prosthetics because comfort, to Cotton, is basically an insult. He claims he killed 50 men in that war. The exact number was never as important as the absolute conviction behind it. He was a terrible father his whole life. Emotionally absent, openly disappointed in Hank, always more impressed by louder, more aggressive men than by his own steady son. And yet the mood shifts the second Kahn enters a room. Nobody questions him, nobody talks over him. A man with no shins and a fraction of everyone's height commands more immediate respect than anyone twice his size. A tier. Built almost entirely out of war stories and spite, and it still works on everyone. Cotton spots every weakness in the room instantly. The last one sees everything except the one thing right in front of him. S tier sees everything except the one thing. Dale Gribble, exterminator, conspiracy theorist, convinced the government is tracking him personally, that black helicopters are a daily threat, and that nearly every institution in American life is secretly working against him specifically. Dale's paranoia isn't a bit. It's a real, fully formed worldview he applies with total consistency to literally everything around him, except his own son. Joseph doesn't resemble Dale even slightly. The biological father lives in the same town, visits the house regularly, and the resemblance is anything but subtle. Dale has never made the connection. He connects dots that don't even exist on a daily basis and misses the one dot that's been sitting in his living room for over a decade. It's not blindness, that's the most efficient camouflage in the entire series, and Dale built it himself, for free, out of pure paranoid overconfidence. S tier, sees conspiracies and clouds, misses the one in his own kitchen every single time. Before the algorithm quietly forgets this channel exists, no black helicopters required, subscribe, thanks. Dale misses the threat in his living room. The last man is that threat, and nobody ever suspected him. God tier, the quietest operation in Texas, John Redcorn. Let's put the facts on the table plainly, because they genuinely need no embellishment. John Redcorn is a healer and masseur. Calm, measured, speaks softly, moves through every room like he already knows exactly how it's going to go. Well, for over a decade, John Redcorn's been having an affair with Nancy Gribble, Dale's wife. In Dale's own house, while Dale sits in the next room fully convinced John Redcorn is only there for Nancy's headaches. Joseph is John Redcorn's biological son. Everyone in town knows it. Nancy knows it. John Redcorn knows it. The only person who doesn't is the man who it would affect the most. Here's the detail that elevates this from affair to genuine mastery. John Redcorn doesn't hide. He shows up openly and regularly at Dale's house. He was simply never questioned, because total visible confidence reads as far less suspicious than any amount of careful hiding. Over 10 years, same town, same house, same friend group, not a single confrontation. That's not luck. God tier, the only character in this series operating with complete unshakable confidence, and the only one who never had to explain himself simply because no one ever thought to ask. Drop it in the comments. Does Dale ever find out, or does the universe just owe him that one answer? Subscribe and check out the other rankings. See you next time. I'm gonna go check if the last Mohican is running around here somewhere.